What is up, people? My name is Shoquafina, the coach of your Lake Huron Lanturns here in the National Battle Association, and this week we are taking on SnakeWrangler, go Snek, and his very different team that I wasn't expecting, to be honest with you guys. So let's just take a look at this. He has the Mega Gallade, he has the Rotom Heat, the Registeel, Landorus Therian Form, Porygon 2, and Superior. No Gengar, which is surprising for me because that thing's actually very fast and has a lot of good coverage moves that could be used to take out a lot of my team members, to be honest, like Dazzling Gleam for my T-Tar and Energy Ball for my Rotom, just stuff like that. So I'm actually very surprised that didn't come. Very happy it didn't come though, but that Registeel, I had a feeling it was coming, and it's going to be kind of a hard wall to knock down, to be completely honest. Just looking at his team right now, I want a T-Wave as soon as possible on that Superior, and preferably on that Gallade as well. Maybe a quick Will-O-Wisp on the Registeel just to whittle that thing down a little bit. And since Gengar isn't here, Mold Breaker isn't as necessary on my drill. I probably could have ran just Sand Rush with the Rock Slide on there for the Rotom Heat. But, you know, what are you going to do? Stuff happens. But obviously, my game plan here is to roll down his team a little bit. I already said I want to get some status on a few things. I need to get a knockoff on that Porygon 2 if I really feel like I need to beat it. But the most important thing here is to get a couple statuses going, and that's why we have our live part here. So we're going to actually lead off with this thing. As we see, he leads off with his Superior, and he switches out right into his Landorus here, expecting the T-Wave. So very good play on his part. Obviously, since this is a ground type, it does not get Thunder Wave because electric type moves don't work on it. So we have to switch out here because this thing's actually going to ruin our life. And we actually got into our Rotom as he goes for Substitute. So already he's kind of scaring me because Sub Landorus usually means some kind of Swords Dance variant, or he might even have like Rock Polish Swords Dance. That could be very scary as well. He wouldn't be able to run EQ on it though because I have a Flyer and my Mega Pinsir and obviously my Rotom, which is out right now. So I'm feeling a little bit better about that. I'm just gonna go for the Hydro Pump here as he goes for the Smackdown, which gets rid of my Levitate, which is actually very scary. And we get rid of his sub there, which is fine by me. And we have to stay in on this Earthquake. We actually end up living, and we knock him out with the Hydro Pump there. So we had a chance to live there. And you see he goes out into his Superior. We had a chance to live there, and I just didn't want to switch into anything and take an Earthquake and risk something else going down. I felt like Rotom was one of the least important members of my team at that point, so I had to assess the situation very quickly. And I figured since there was a good chance we actually lived that, thanks to our bulk, that we'd be able to pull that off and hit with a Hydro Pump and knock it out. So Landorus is down right off the bat, which is very good for us. Turn 4 it goes down, and he sends out his Snek here. He is Snek. It's just double Snek. So many Sneks. I don't know what's going on. But I actually just choose to stay in here, and he misses the Leaf Storm. I was just going to sack my my Laundromat here, and I actually go for the Will-O-Wisp. Kind of wish I would have went for the Volt Switch instead, but, you know, what are you going to do? Get some residual damage on this thing as he hits the Leaf Storm this time and goes up +2 in his special attack. So we see this is starting to whittle it down a little bit, and I go out into my Mega Pinsir here and just go for the quick attack, and he has the Koba Berry, which halves the damage taken by super effective flying type moves. So very well prepared there by Snake. As you can see, that did 38%, and he has 38% left. Since I have the damage, that would have put him exactly where he needed to be, right where my calc said it would have been, and just very well played there, because that means he gets a big hit off on our Mega Pinsir here, and actually has HP, or Hidden Power. I don't know if that was Rock. I'm guessing it was Rock, and he knocks me out. So with the Koba Berry, he ate that up, hit me with an HP Rock. This thing was set up to be a counter for Mega Pinsir, and it did a fantastic job of doing that. So we go ahead and set out our Gardevoir here, and he does switch out, predicting us to be Scarfed, and we are. So we hit this thing with a big Moonblast, does hardly anything, and I have to switch out here. I don't want to be in on this Registeel. I go out into my Screwdriver, I show on Mold Breaker as he predicts that and goes for EQ. So we're just getting played all day by Snake. He's just predicting us left and right. There's really not much I can do about that. I actually go for big EQ here and do a tremendous amount of damage here, and we sack off our screwdriver in the process. I figured the damage would be worth it here, considering as soon as I break this wall down, my other monsters have a great time. Knockoff doesn't get the kill like I was hoping it would. He hits me with the Iron Head, and we actually pick up the kill on the following turn with the knockoff yet again. So as you can see, this is kind of a fast-paced match. Things are dying one right after the other. Kind of disappointed knockoff didn't kill there. I thought it would, to be honest with you. I probably should have invested more time in calcing that. I did kind of look at a quick calc, but obviously I was wrong. I was thrown off by how much Earthquake did as opposed to what the knockoff did. So that's fine. We lose our focus sash, obviously, on the Lipard because of that, which is kind of a problem, but you know, it's not the end of the world at all. As you can see here, he sends in his Rotom Heat. I have to switch out into my Godzilla. I want to preserve my Lipard for later on, obviously, to T-Wave some things. So he drops his special attack here as he does go for Volt Switch here, and into this thing, as I set up rocks to really put this thing on limited switches, the Rotom Heat, that is. So he goes into his Gallade here. Obviously, he's going to Mega Evolve this turn. I can't stay in on this thing because if it goes for a Drain Punch, I'm just absolutely obliterated because it's 4 times effective. I have to switch out, and I go out into my Bulma here to take this incoming fighting type move. As he goes for Will-O-Wisp and actually misses. So that's very good for us. No residual damage on our Bulma. I'll take that all day. I'm not mad about that at all. And he actually has to take a switch here as he goes out into his Porygon, the Donald. And that only takes 22% from a Moonblast. This is max special attack. Modest. So that's huge. And as you can see, that Eviolite just eats it up there. We do get a drop in a special attack, which is very good for us. Very, very good for us. But I don't want to stay in here. I can't. I need to preserve this. So I go out into my Godzilla. And sand wears off when I do, but that's fine. I just go for Toxic to just start wearing this thing down, as he actually goes for Toxic as well. So this is actually a very close match. Very, very close match. It could go either way. I still want to get off a knockoff on the Duck here, as well as a T-Wave on either... Well, I can't really get a T-Wave up on the Superior because it's already burned, but a T-Wave on the Gallade would be fantastic for me. Just to ensure later on that I can outspeed and hopefully gets T-Wave, or hopefully gets fully paralyzed on certain moves. That actually really, really helped me. As I go out to my socks here, he goes for a Recover, expecting me to go for another attacking move. So we're able to get the knockoff on this thing, and I will take it. I will take it. It gets off a Tri-Attack. That does knock me out, but that's fine. At that point, I figured I could do one or the other, either knock this off or get a paralysis on the Mega Gallade. I chose to get the knockoff on this one, just so he couldn't wall me for the rest of the game, and that actually worked out very well for me. So not only is it Toxic, not only is it special attack down -1, but he also doesn't have his Eviolite anymore. So that's going to be big for us, and that actually lets Bulma put in a lot of work here. So we hit this thing pretty hard. It hits us with a Tri-Attack back. Doesn't do too much because just natural bulk, and then goes down to Toxic. We see this thing come out. I actually have to switch out in my Godzilla here. I don't want to take any more damage as he goes for the Volt Switch. When he Volt Switches into his Snake, he actually goes down to Rocks plus Burn plus Sand. So awesome for us. One less threat, and he just goes out into his... So this turn is actually very important. He goes on to his Mega Gallade, and he goes for the Wish. Now, I predicted this thing to be... defensive, either physically or specially. I wasn't sure which. When he went for Will-O-Wisp, because obviously offensive Mega Gallade's not going to run Will-O-Wisp. Then he goes for Wish. So this shows that this is not only defensive, but it's kind of like a cleric. So I'm not as afraid of this as I would have been previously, but I also don't want to stay in and take close combat or a Drain Punch or whatever it might have as a fighting type stab move, because it will absolutely obliterate me. And that's just not good. I don't want that. So I actually predict him to go for Protect here, just go out into my Bulma, as he actually goes for Close Combat. So you can see Close Combat does about 27%. That puts me down to 33%. He's going to get his Wish back here. We both take some sand damage, and that puts him up so high. And he switches back out into the Rotom, and this thing dies to 2 Moonblasts, so that's absolutely okay with me. It's not Scarf, so I will outspeed. So basically what it comes down to is, can Mega Gardevoir Oko this thing almost from full? Now I have a couple of options here. First of all, I can scout for Shadow Sneak, by going out into my T-Tar. Not only will I be able to scout for Shadow Sneak going out into T-Tar, but I'll also be able to set up sand and do some chip damage to this thing. Or I could just go for it and hope and pray that it works. Honestly, at this point, I felt like if he has Shadow Sneak, it's completely over anyway. That's because it is. I die to a Shadow Sneak. T-Tar dies to a fighting type move. And I was so convinced, okay, he has Shadow Sneak. It's not going to matter what I do. I can switch out into T-Tar and get him for like 6% with sand, but he's gonna hit me with a close combat or a Drain Punch. I was really thinking Drain Punch is he's more of a clerical set. Or he had close combat. What am I talking about? Yeah, he had close combat. So he's gonna hit me with a close combat and knock T-Tar out next turn. Go for Shadow Sneak again, and it won't even matter. So I just decided, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. And we go for it. He does not have Shadow Sneak, and we actually knock this thing out. So I don't know if that was a roll. I don't know what was going on there. It must have been a roll, but I calced it, and it said I had a decent chance of knocking him out if I actually went for it there. So that's the game, guys. Very, very close game. Very weird game, to be honest with you. A great game played by Snake. He had me there up against the wall for the majority of that thing. He was just predicting me left and right out of the gate, and he had me running scared. So very glad we were able to pull off a victory here. We needed this victory. We're, you know, not the best record right now, but we're gonna pull through. We're gonna pull out some more wins here coming up, guys. I promise you that. But until next time, my name's Shoquafina, and I'm out.